Delta State's traditional institution appeals for more federal presence.
To remind him that Asaba remains the only state capital without a federal university.
A Rivers State sole administrator starts work at Government House, whole security meeting. Vice presidential candidate leads other stakeholders of SDP in Kano to join APC.
We are now part and parcel of our former family, the All Progressive Congress, APC.
Hello and thanks for joining us at News Desk at 11 and NTA News 24. We're reaching you live in Abuja. I am Comfort Fashim. The traditional institution from Asaba, Delta State capital, has appealed to President Bola Tinubu for more federal presence in the locality, particularly for a higher institution of learning. The Asagba of Asaba, Professor Epifani Azinge, led a delegation of traditional chiefs on a courtesy visit to President Bola Tinubu at the State House. They also presented their requests to the President for attention. The traditional ruler acknowledged and appreciated the federal government for some projects currently ongoing around their area.
Some of the gestures extended by the federal government to our area, especially access road to the Niger Bridge, passing of gas line, pipelines from Alefikede through Asaba to Oka, all in the works. And also to remember for him the fact that we need institutions in our area, in our locality, especially to remind him that Asaba remains the only state capital without a federal university, and that for us is worrisome. And amongst other requests, federal presence as the need arises.
The Asagba of Asaba appraised President Tinubu for his handling of matters of state, commending his efforts so far.
There might be some hiccups here, but on the whole, we score him highly in that regard, and we pray for him. It's a very difficult country to govern. There will always be some criticisms here and there, but on the whole, I believe that he's on the right track, and then we wish him the very best.
Vice President Kashim Shettima says it is time to move beyond talk and take decisive action to end malnutrition in Nigeria, directing members of the National Council on Nutrition, ministries, departments and agencies and other stakeholders to adopt a multi-sectorial approach to the ongoing efforts. He made the declaration during a virtual meeting of the National Council on Nutrition at the Presidential Villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jabrila reports.
Malnutrition is a crisis that threatens the nation's security and economic productivity. And without tangible results, discussions, committees, and even the council itself will amount to nothing more than an exercise in futility.
To meet with Mr. President and lead the process of establishing the NIF.
Vice President Kashim Shettima at this virtual meeting with stakeholders said this is a crisis that threatens both national security and economic productivity. He acknowledged the importance of data and statistics in tackling malnutrition, maintaining that whatever policies or programs that are prioritized must be guided by practical evidence-based assessments.
Nutrition 774 initiative, a grassroots-driven program designed to institutionalize nutrition at the local government level, ensuring that no community is left behind. We also have Anwin 2.0, which builds on the successes of Anwin 1.0 to scale up our impact and guarantee the sustainability of our interventions across the nation. These initiatives are not just policies on paper, they are commitments in action designed to change lives.
He emphasized the need for the government to take the lead in meeting the funding requirements, saying success of any intervention cannot be guaranteed unless it is financially spearheaded by the government.
And those of us at the lower level of government realize the issues with nutrition and stunted growth, health and education. We don't need to emphasize on that again.
On the update on the activation of the National Nutrition Dashboard, the Council resolved to keep the dashboard running online, as having the devices in offices is insufficient. The Council also resolved that the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning and the Ministry of Women Affairs should take the lead in establishing a nutrition department in their ministries. On the Accelerating Nutrition Results in Nigeria project, Closeout, and 2.0, the Council directed the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare to ensure the 2.0 is fully integrated with the N774 initiative, as this alignment will enhance coordination, resource optimization, and impact at the grassroots level. There were other updates on the review of the National Multisectoral Plan of Action on Food and Nutrition, Nutrition for Growth Project, and the Presidential Nutrition Investment Fund. From the State House, Abrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
As part of the strategic planning of the country value addition, the 5th edition of Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair NOGOF 2025 is focusing on driving investment and production growth, shaping a sustainable oil and gas industry through indigenous capacity development. A key player says the theme highlights the critical role of the oil and gas industry in fueling industrialization and overall development of Nigeria's economy. Lydia Sampson reports.
Reeling out the inherent benefits of developing local content in the oil and gas industry, Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, reiterates that it is crucial for economic growth as it enhances indigenous participation, creates jobs, and retains wealth within the country.
During the edition of NOGOF, over 100 opportunities were presented by companies in the sector. We had over 1,500 attendees, including VIPs. Some of these projects showcase, such as Ubeta and Bonga North, are already being executed, while others are in the pipeline for FIDs. We expect large attendance and more opportunities at this year's edition. Because of the impact of the 3 presidential directives on the oil and gas industry, which have unlocked new investments, we hope to welcome delegates, partners, and government bodies from different parts of Africa to engage in quality discussions and exploit new business opportunities across African oil and gas value chain.
Stakeholders who joined in the press briefing agreed that it fosters technology transfer and skills development, ensuring sustainable benefits beyond resource extraction. With 56% local content attainment in the Nigerian oil and gas industry, NOGOF biennially showcases the various opportunities available in the oil and gas industry and fosters partnerships that will drive growth and development in the sector. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The sole administrator for Rivers State, Vice Admiral Ipokete Ibas, retired, has resumed duties. He arrived at the Port Harcourt International Airport and was received by top officials and security personnel, accompanied by the State Commissioner of Police, Olubenga Adepoju, and Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 16. The sole administrator immediately proceeded to Government House, Port Harcourt. At the Government House, he was conducted around by some officials and thereafter proceeded to the Executive Council chamber, where he addressed the Government House officials and the service chiefs who were present. In a brief chat with the media, Iba said, Port Harcourt is my city. Everything appears calm. We just want Port Harcourt to get to where it has always been. And the federal government has launched a new national initiative, Customs Cares, with the target on fostering inclusive growth and sustainable impact across community nationwide. A Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Wale Edun, at a launch in Abuja, emphasized that the project, which is an initiative of the Nigeria Customs Service, aligns with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda of building better future for the Nigerian youth and overall grassroots development. Tope Alabi reports.
Customs Cares is a comprehensive corporate social responsibility of the Nigeria Customs Service hinged on 6 critical areas, including healthcare, education, social investments, food security, creative economy, and environmental sustainability.
Customs Cares, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu Cares.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, and other key players lauded efforts of officers and men of the Nigeria Customs Service, assuring support on the project's implementation.
We are at a stage now, after much hard work, we are seeing the benefits of President Tinubu's courageous leadership and economic dexterity and skill. Inflation is coming down. Food prices are lower.
It is payback time to this school and so many other communities that support our activities. And, we just have to be very creative, in looking for a funding formula. Officers and men have demonstrated ownership and commitment over this project by surrendering a part of their own salaries into this. 4% of their annual salaries is huge, it's quite huge. And this was willingly done, so this is to ensure that everybody will be committed.
This is service to humanity, service to our country. And we, as the Federal Ministry of Education, will give them the maximum support to ensure that this gets successful.
The Customs Cares project has commenced with Government Secondary School Wuse Zone 3 in Abuja, becoming the first beneficiary of the educational support, infrastructure development, and free medical outreach provided by the Customs medical team. In Abuja, Tope Alabi, NTA News.
The Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Olatunji Alausa, is pleased to announce the resolution of the long-standing issue regarding the mobilization of Higher National Diploma (HND) graduates for the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC). Following a dialogue with the Director General of NYSC, the Minister confirmed that only full-time graduates are eligible and can now proceed with their mobilization, while those who did HND part-time remain ineligible. This development marks a significant breakthrough for full-time HND graduates who were previously excluded from the NYSC program. A statement by Director, Press and Public Relations, Federal Ministry of Education, Boriowo Folashade, states that the development underscores the ministry's commitment to equity, fairness, and inclusivity in the nation's education system. However, those who did HND part-time are not eligible for mobilization at all. To facilitate a seamless mobilization process, the National Board for Technical Education, NBTE, has been directed to expedite the collection of data for eligible HND graduates. In line with this, a circular has been sent to all rectors of polytechnics instructing them to upload the necessary graduate data onto the newly created HND admission portal. We take a break now to stay with us. You're still on to the news at 11 on NTA News 24. Moving on. The vice presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Yusuf Buhari, in 2023, alongside the party's governorship candidate in Kano, including local government contestants and members of the working committee, have defected to the All Progressives Congress. They said their defection was motivated by the successes being recorded by President Bola Tinubu.
After 2 years, we have started to see that these economic policies are yielding some fruits. The foreign exchange is beginning to stabilize, food prices are coming down, insecurity is being addressed by our military, by our brave armed forces. Our phones have continued to ring. A lot of people that are within the fold of the SDP are interested in following us into the APC.
From today onwards, we are now part and parcel of our former family, the All Progressive Congress, APC.
Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibrin, while addressing the defectors, said the attempts by some politicians to use the SDP as a platform to compete against the APC in 2027 is a mission in futility.
Those who are in the party are now moving away from the party to APC. So that party is going to be empty. So the idea is dead on arrival. We call on those who are in other parties that APC is one of us. It is a movement to transform Nigeria.
Kudos to the Deputy Senate President for your efforts to bring these important and vibrant politicians to Abuja to honor. We are here to honor them as joining our party, APC.
APC is a party, when you come, there's no discrimination. As soon as you come in, you become a member of us. We have equal rights. You are free to contest your elections. You are free to interact with others. You are free to enjoy the privileges that is accrued as a member of All Progressives Congress.
The Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, has commended the federal government for taking bold steps in making the system function better and serve the best interests of the people at the grassroots. This was at the meeting of the body in Abuja, where the Implementation Committee for the Financial Autonomy Regime, headed by the Secretary to the Governments of the Federation, and accessory measures for the seamless transition of the process as delivered in Supreme Court's judgment of July 11th were commended.
That's so far so good. We are impressed the way they are handling the implementation. Even in spite of some bottlenecks, I want to believe they are making progress. And all these are in the interest of the local government system in Nigeria.
Despite the fact that the security committee, where DPOs and the rest of them come, we have to incorporate the transitional institution into the system so that they play a very critical and key role in solving this problem once and for all.
This is our system that is moving very well from here down to the local government level. And we are working together with our principals, the governors, as the body to make this movement very productive.
The organization said granting of financial autonomy at the local government level has also ensured that democracy thrives at its best amongst the growing population at the third tier of government, and appreciated the relationship between state and local governments. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has reiterated the need for all trucks, especially those carrying petroleum products, to adhere to standard operating procedures, SOPs, to mitigate devastating impacts and accidents. During an on-the-spot assessment on the scene of the accidents in Karu, the authority chief executive pledged robust and inclusive collaboration to mitigate truck-in-transit accidents across the country. Lydia Sampson reports.
Much has been said about this site of this inherent tragic accident. The visit by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is to get more insight as a regulator so as to provide more regulations on how these, by God's grace, can be prevented. The scene shows the level and impact of the devastation, which key players say could have been avoided if standard operating procedures were observed.
We have SOPs for the discharge and loading of petroleum products. What you will find is that accidents will occur. They're not really accidents. When people breach those SOPs, we from the NMDPRA are addressing those that are under our jurisdiction, which is petroleum products transportation.
It's a multiple crash as far as we are concerned, one hitting the other one and ramming into each other. Going forward, of course, as incidences like this occur, it also brings up for people to sit together again and we now come up with solutions.
Whenever accident happens, we have to trace it back to the original issues. And here, clearly, there was a brake failure. And I understand that various vehicles were involved.
Amidst rising concerns over the high number of fatalities and injuries from such incidents, NMDPRA is engaging key stakeholders, including the Federal Road Safety Corps, National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, and the Standard Organization of Nigeria, amongst many others. This is the focus of these interface with the Corps Marshal.
The training and retraining of those drivers, the certification of those vehicles, because if that vehicle had been certified recently, the brake failure wouldn't have happened.
A significant measure include banning 60,000-litre fuel tankers from operating on Nigerian roads starting March 2025, with plans to limit all trucks to 45,000 litres by the fourth quarter of the year. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Nigeria has emphasized the need for shared responsibility among global partners in the healthcare sector. A Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Salako, in a message at the UK-Africa Health Summit in London, emphasized the importance of ethical and mutually beneficial partnerships in healthcare. Oluseyi Adiagbo has the details.
Raising concerns over the alarming exodus of Nigerian healthcare professionals, Dr. Salako revealed that between 2020 and 2022, the number of Nigerian doctors leaving the country increased by 145% and a 70% rise in migrating nurses and midwives, with a staggering 900% surge in medical laboratory scientists, while 68% of doctors and 52% of nurses, as well as midwives, relocated to the UK. Acknowledging the value of skills exchange, Dr. Salako stressed that Nigeria cannot afford to keep losing its best minds without structured agreements to ensure balance. The Minister of State for Health highlighted Nigeria's efforts to improve healthcare through the National Health Act 2014, which allocates at least 1% of consolidated revenue for health services investments in primary healthcare, social health insurance, and emergency medical services. He, however, called for fairer migration policies, urging the UK to invest in capacity building, training programs, and structured bilateral agreements to ensure that migration benefits both countries. The minister reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to achieving self-sufficiency in health financing, but emphasized the need for a phased approach to avoid disruptions in progress. Appealing to global health leaders, Dr. Salako urged a shift from talent extraction to shared investment, stating that health has no borders, neither should global solutions.
Well, that concludes the news at 11 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I'm Comfort Fashion.